We're a go. Welcome back to the SANDCAST podcast, everybody. We're here today with Sara Hughes, who is the reigning champ. She's back on top, ladies and gentlemen.
We love Brazil, Sarah.
We love Brazil. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, Itapema. That was a good event. I went, how long ago was that last one? It was like...
November. November was when you went and won bronze with Therese, right?
Yes.
Is that
in Itapema?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that was the same one?
It's been going on for a little while now, yeah.
Oh, I guess I just haven't gone in like 3 years or something. Good event for you.
Yeah, I really like it there.
Yeah. You and Andre and George.
Yeah,
They won in November, and then they won again this time, and you got bronze last time and gold this time.
Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah. Now I remember the other time.
Because you didn't play in the fall. I forget what other men's teams were there. That was Taylor and Taylor's first event.
Oh,
together.
yeah, they were there. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And Chase and Troy and Cam and Theo.
Yeah. So what is it about Itapema?
I don't know. Maybe I think it's the Brazilian fans, the acai, all that good stuff, you know?
It is good vibes playing volleyball in Brazil.
Yeah.
Anywhere.
Yeah, honestly, I think it's so much fun playing there. Just the passion and fire everyone brings. And, I mean, in a tournament in Brazil, it's loaded with Brazilian teams. So, you know, it's just going to be great competition. And you have to bring your A game every time. It's
almost like playing on the Banco Brazil tour when you're there, because so many Brazilian teams sign up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've actually done one of those once. I got to play in one.
You did a long training camp. You were in Rio for a good bit, right?
Yeah,
with Jose in summer?
Yeah, I did a little bit of a training camp there, and then I think it was like we played in one of their tours, and then I think ended up going to another like FIVB Brazil tournament. I don't remember it quite that well, like all the names of where we were, but yeah, I do. Brazil's awesome. Good place to train.
How is the Banco tour?
It's cool. I mean, I've only got to experience it once, so I don't really...
Small sample size.
Yeah, small sample size, but where we played, it was really hot. Oh, my goodness. But, I mean, you know, you're going up against some of the top teams in the world in there because a lot of those are Brazilian teams. Yeah. So it was really fun just to kind of get that experience and be out there and play in that.
I think it's so fun to play on different domestic tours. Like, you did New Zealand.
And I did Germany.
How was that one?
It was sweet. It was really cool. It was like on some island in northern Germany.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know Germany had islands.
I didn't know that either.
Learned something new.
I think I wasn't on an island. I can't remember. It was me and my Will Montgomery days.
Oh, Will Montgomery,
we were just traveling around the world.
That's awesome.
Balling out. And we traveled with your brother a little bit too. Mm-hmm. Me and Will and Jeff Carlson and Connor Hughes.
Good crew.
Good crew.
Exactly. But no, playing on other domestic tours is super cool because we only have the perspective of playing on the AVP. It kind of makes you feel lucky to have the AVP tour.
Yeah.
And when you talk to international athletes, they're all like, you guys aren't allowed to complain, you damn Americans. This world tour stuff you're complaining about, this is all we have.
Yeah, no, we are very lucky with the AVP, and you know, every time you go.
Even though we haven't had it really much.
True, but I mean, even all the international players, like, how can we get on the AVP?
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what I think the moment that it really hit just how great the AVP was, was so in Panama City, Sean Cook and Logan Weber won, and they split, I want to say, $3,200, and Sophie and Brandy took a fifth on the world tour and Challenger and split like $3,200, and I was like, oh my god! And that was an AVP next. That's like pretty close in prize money to Challenger.
That's wild.
I was like, okay, maybe we should all appreciate the AVP a little bit more.
Yeah, agreed.
It's pretty. Yeah, I don't think
it's tough weird out there right now.
When they came out with this new system, it was like, okay. It seems like we're getting back to where it should be, and it almost feels opposite. Like, it's almost worse than the stars. Not as a whole, but like the prize money situation, the points are kind of all over the place when people are still dropping star finishes, and it doesn't, like, the rankings don't make sense yet. When the whole reason of doing this system was to make it so we have the top teams in the world and they're there and promoters know that they're coming, and now it's like, oh, this team jumped 32 spots up because they had one good finisher and a challenger, and so now you have this team there and this other team that was top 10 last week's like back in the challengers qualifiers now.
Yeah.
It's like we have a little hopefully a grace period for this new system to like
Yeah.
I think
figure
I mean
itself
I think
out.
when you do anything new, you know, if you try like a new partnership or you know
Yeah.
if you do take a new job or you start a brand new system for a world tour league, there's going to be
Yeah.
some bumps. I think the events are very well run. I think and the presentation of them is excellent. Like I think the stream is awesome. And
Oh
then-
yeah.
Yeah,
for
they're
sure.
doing a really good job with the stream.
Yeah.
Everyone really appreciates that, especially all the fans back home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think that it'll end up working itself out. Like once all the players get their 4 events in, I think that we'll start to see maybe less volatile swings and like people jumping up 48 points. You know,
Yeah.
like the young Chilean kids. Have you watched them play?
Yeah, they're awesome.
And so they like had that huge finish, and I think they're in Elite 16s now in the
Wow.
qualifiers. It's like, damn, all right,
Yeah.
Good for you guys.
Yeah, seriously.
Definitely good for them.
yeah. But
Yeah.
no bumps for you starting something new. You and Kel kicking ass, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's been really great so far. You know, every single tournament we've played in, we've just gotten better and better. And then bringing home the gold in the last tournament was absolutely incredible and just kind of a testament to who we are as a team and what we want to do this season.
Yeah. So who are you guys as a team?
I mean, you know, it was, you know, the process, obviously, after the Olympic year, there's a big switch up within, like, a lot of partnerships, and especially on the women's side, it was kind of a scramble, and, you know, everyone's talking to a lot of different people, and Kelley and I ended up meeting up and just clicking right away. I knew of her, obviously, competed against her. I never really talked to her a whole lot, but knew she was just a really nice person. So when we finally sat down to have that conversation, we had so many things in common and what we wanted to accomplish and what our main goals are. And so, you know, after we had that discussion, it was like, all right, let's get on the sand as soon as possible. And that's what we did. We, you know, got on the sand, had a little tryout, and it just clicked right then and there. And, you know, we had a few more practices, and I was kind of, you know, like, well, Kelley, like, you want to do this? And she was like, you know what? It's funny you say something because I didn't want to tell you, like, let's play the season, you know, like, let's play together. And gave her a big hug and was like, yes, let's do that. And once that happened, it was like, let's get to work. And I think that's something really cool about our team is the work ethic. Right away, it was just like, how can we become the best? How can we get better as a team individually? And that's just kind of our process this year, is just getting better and getting to know each other. And, you know, our goal is to be the top team. So that's what we want to do.
Yeah. And, I mean, you guys got to be... Did you pass Sara and Therese? Are you now the 2?
We are the 2 team, yes.
Okay. Nicely done.
Thank you.
That's a quick move.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, it feels good to be up there.
I bet.
Yeah, and, you know, kind of getting in solidly in that Elite 16 tournament, too. It's like
Huge.
made some big strides to get there, so it's important
That
right
is
now.
hugely important. I think this year above all else might be like the most important points have ever been on the World Tour, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, we had to play the Elite 16 qualifier in Rosarito, and man, is that
Some barn burner.
the tournament before the tournament. So having 2 tough matches to get into the main draw, it was just like, woof. It's tough being in that position, but we know we had to work through it, and you have to do what you have to do out here. You know, it's just got to keep grinding until you get there, and we're finally like, all right, we got there. So a lot more work to be done, but it's just nice being in that tournament.
Yeah, your match against Tayana and Haji was crazy.
Yeah. It was so intense.
It was wild.
It was wild. It was such a good win, though, especially I think as a new partnership.
Yep.
It's never easy, and we kind of looked at each other, we're like, you know what? Of course we want to win in 2, but these third games are going to be really important for our future as a team, so we're just going to take it in stride and just play it out and play tough and play together, and I think that was actually hugely important for our team.
Yeah. I mean, you'll learn a lot about each other in matches like that.
Oh, 100%. And I think that's where early on for us, like a lot of trust within our partnership. And I think right then and there was a big testament of that. It was like, all right, I trust Kelley
Yeah.
She's going to do what she's going to do, and I just got to focus on what I have to do. And together, I think that's huge in a partnership.
Yeah.
Just you focus on what you need to do, and I'll focus on me, and we can come together and create something special.
Yeah.
Where do you think that trust kind of stems from?
I really truly believe it's just I don't have to worry about her.
Yeah.
Like, I know she's putting in her work,
Right.
and she's doing whatever she needs to do, and I think that's awesome, and just the maturity she has. It's like, this is her job.
Yeah.
And, I think sometimes transitioning into the beach volleyball world after college, or, some of these young players coming up, it's not easy. It's like, this is a full-time job, and yes, of course, it's not always as easy to make as much money, but it's like, if you want to be at the top and you want to win, you really have to take it as a full-time job.
Yeah.
And Kelley does that, and I respect that, and I do that. So it's just like, all right, I trust her, and I know she trusts me. And then, we started working out together and getting to know each other more, and it was like, oh yeah, I don't have to worry about her.
Right.
Yeah.
And I showed her that she doesn't have to worry about me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think that's where it really stemmed from.
Yeah, for sure. When you get into the heat of the battle, the big moments, it's like there's no reason to question yourself, your team's preparation. You're just free in those moments because you don't have no regrets. You put it all in and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How's it been working with? We have like a total. It's not just a new partnership. Like I feel like you just
New team.
assembled a whole new team. You got new trainer with Mykel. You're working with Evie, who we've all worked with. Evie, love Evie to death. How is it? Just like I feel like it's so exciting to have just a fresh start.
Oh, it is amazing. I think for me especially too, a fresh start was needed, and I was working with Jose for so long and love Jose, love him as a coach. It just, kind of panned out with Kelley, like, hey, let's try out Evie, and it was just really cool for me to step onto the court with a different type of mindset with a different coach, and he's incredible. I'm so grateful to be part of what he does, and the little nuances he teaches and how he approaches the game planning and practice and everything. It's just, as a player, I think diversity and like getting different mindsets and opinions is really important. And then also working with a new personal trainer, Mykel, has been like the coolest thing in the entire world. I am just so blessed to be in his gym and working with him. Like I know a lot of people know who he is, but being able to experience like being part of his team, I'm so grateful, and I am like, I don't think I could do anything else for the rest of my life.
Right.
I'm like, I'm all in. After the first day, I was all in with the type of mindset he has and the appreciation he has for athletes who put in the work. I'm just very happy, and it's great. I think it's just a game changer, honestly, especially just specifically for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like he's pretty selective about who he takes on his team.
He definitely, you have to match his personality and mindset and whatnot, like have that dog in you, as he says, or else he kind of loses interest. And he's had some people come through his gym over the years where it's just like, they just didn't last,
Yeah.
You got to have that mentality, but he talks about you guys all the time now. He gets so excited too, because now you guys are on top, winning events already, and he's just like so amped. I'm so pissed you're not in Brazil right now. I wanted you guys to be there.
Yeah,
what the hell are you
sorry,
guys doing? I'm like, easy, killer. Easy.
Yeah, I mean, but it's true. I mean, you've worked with him for so long, and I don't even know if you remember this try, but I'd always sometimes, because you would always practice after me with Jose, and I'm like, so you're a trainer, like, what are you doing? Who is he? Every time I saw, Instagram, I was like checking him out, trying to stalk him on Instagram, and seeing your workouts with him, and I saw Kelley working out, and I'm like, that just is so interesting to me, and like the way you guys were breathing and your movements and how I thought it would correlate to volleyball. I like knew I was gonna get to him eventually. He didn't know that, but like in my heart, I was like, I'm getting to that guy one day. And now that I'm there, I'm like, you're never getting rid of me. I'm sorry, but I'm so happy. So
I think I told Mykel at one point too, maybe before or like after the first session or so, I was like, you're gonna like Sara, like watch, you're gonna like her. She's like, oh yeah, bro, she's got that dog in her. It's all excited, and no, he's super excited right now too. just like having athletes like that appreciate what he brings, but also like crave it.
Oh yeah.
And bring out the best in him and like challenge him. He likes it when I challenge him a lot.
Yeah.
But he likes that actually, which is cool. You know, you want to be able to be yourself and push him to push you, and he's holds you accountable in a way that nobody else does in our sport. It's kind of nice that he's separated from our sport, because we have a certain culture within volleyball, and it's a little soft, I think, sometimes. So some of us crave that hard-nosed, old-school mentality, and we tend to gravitate up towards the valley to his gym, and we can really get it in out there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Crave it. I mean, I find it the hardest workouts I've ever done in my life, but
with
after...
like a 3-pound weight.
Oh, yeah. But afterwards, I actually told him the other day, I'm like, I don't want to leave.
Yeah.
And, you know, he was even saying, he's like, that's something special, like, that we can create in here. It's just like family, and we grind together, we work together, and we want to be together. And I think I'm like, I'll drive any day to come see you, like, no matter what. So.
And I think that's one thing that I love about beach volleyball is that a lot of people, you know, they'll say the first thing that they miss about the indoor culture is the team aspect of it. But in beach, you do have a team. It's just a really small, tight-knit one. Mm-hmm. And you and your partner, you end up spending way more time with each other than anyone else in your life. And
it's
like
a marriage.
on the road, it really is. And like you're sharing like these teeny tiny hotel rooms for weeks at a time, and you get your trainer and your coach, and it ends up being like this really tight-knit group, which is it's fun to have when you build it. Yeah,
I completely agree. Once it's there, and I think, you know, I've had so many great things in the past, but right now is something really special, and it just really gets me excited for, you know, the upcoming season.
For sure.
Yeah.
Was it just so exciting for you? Just because, like, when Summer got hurt, it was, like, the worst timing. Mm-hmm. It was because it was too, I feel like it had reached the tipping point where it was too late for other people in the Olympic race to break up with their partners. And so, like, was it, you obviously, like, I was so impressed with how much work you put in, and you were just, like, with Jose all the time, putting your work in, and, like, you know, you're playing with Brandy, and then Lauren and Emily, and like, how tough was it to just keep maintaining that work ethic throughout that, so that when it came time for the shuffle, that like you were up there?
Yeah, I mean, it was very tough. Like, it was so hard because it's been seriously my dream since I was 8 years old. The moment I stepped on the beach volleyball court, I was like, this is where I want to be for the rest of my life, and this is what I want to do. And I was getting there, you know, with Summer, and you know, a lot of people might not have remembered, but you were
so good.
We were up there, and we were the #1 U.S. team for a very long time, and then unfortunately, you know, something happens that's completely out of your control, and an injury happens, and you just can't go forward. And I was shattered. I mean, like, you fight so hard for something, and then it's like gone, and you're like, but I did nothing wrong, you know? Yeah. So I think that was the hardest part for me, just emotionally, and it was just like, what the heck? But it was like, you have two options here. You can just give up, quit, sulk, be like, why did this happen to me? Mm-hmm. Or you can get better and just push it aside and move on and just keep going after what you want. And that's exactly, you know, what I decided to do, was like, oh, there's no matter what happened, I still want this more than anything. Yeah. So I'm just gonna, you know what, say my piece with it and get back on the volleyball court. And like you said, it was kind of that tipping point where maybe somebody could have taken a chance on me, but it was right during that qualification. Yeah. And so it was like I understood, but I was like, man, I wish somebody just took the chance. But, you know, Lauren Fendrick and I were like, let's do it. And we went to our first tournament, we won, and then COVID happened. Oh, God. So it was like, man, one thing after the other. But, I mean, everyone had to go through, you know, COVID and lockdown. Yeah. And then once that was over, there was no 12 tournaments before the Olympics. Right. So it was actually impossible to qualify.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You didn't even get your shot.
Didn't even get my shot. Yeah, so, like, between the time of getting one tournament with Lauren and then looking at the schedule, it was like, oh, we have a shot, and then lockdown.
That's wild.
And then there wasn't even 12 tournaments, so it was just kind of like, oh, there's nothing you can do. But it was like, all right, back to the grind, back to getting better. And like you said, a lot of those practices were just me out on the court, with Jose, who was absolutely incredible, bringing in some other coaches and kind of just keep getting that training in. But, you know, and then now here we are today. Like, whatever happened in the past, it's in the past. And now I'm just completely moving forward and with this great new team and then this great new partner. And then we got that great finish and right back where we were supposed to be.
You had your plight, as Mykel says.
Yep.
He likes that. He likes when you go through something and then come out on the other side with, I mean, we all like it. You know, come out on the side even better with a new skill set and whatnot.
It's growth, right? I mean, you can either learn from it or it can suck you down. But it was like, for me, I'm like, where I'm learning from it. And I honestly think it's made me a better player. And in those really tough spots on the court, it's like, oh my gosh, so much pressure. But it's like, well, I've been here, you know, I've been through a lot worse, so just breathe and pass the ball, you know, so I think it's helped.
Before that, at least from a fan's perspective, there wasn't much downs in your career before that. It was like, all you knew was winning. Sara Hughes steps on the court, she wins. And then the summer thing happens, and it's funny because, like you kind of mentioned earlier, like people kind of forget what that whole process is like, and you're the only one that really remembers it. I remember feeling that way too when I was out. I was like, these people forget what I was doing before. Like, you're just another player, you know? If you're not in the rankings, you're just another player.
Yeah.
So, especially in the volleyball world. I mean, I'm sure every sport, right? Somebody's not playing well or somebody's down. It's like, whatever, we forget about them. But it's just like very easily forgotten. And that's okay to me because you really find who your friends are, who your family is, who you can trust. Because it's like, you want the people who will be there for you no matter what, and you learn that pretty quickly when you're at the top and then all of a sudden you're not. Yeah, exactly. So, also a good thing to learn.
Yeah, but another weapon that you have in your career and life and in general, not just feeling that success. Now, like, if a little dip comes, you kind of have that weapon too. You're like, been there too. I've been on top, I've been down below. Not really bottom, because you, like you said, you didn't really even do anything to lose or to lose all those points and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, for me that's exciting. Like when I see it too, I'm like, oh, now you got the superpower. Because I had my 2 years off too, you know.
Yeah. No, it's true. I mean, you can relate, you can understand. It's just got to keep going, keep grinding, and honestly, just never give up.
Yeah. Like no one ever like wishes those tough moments on anyone, and then but every time that person gets on the other side of whatever bad thing happened, they're like, oh yeah, like I learned so much that was in retrospect one of the better things that's happened to me in my career, because you really learn like to figure things out, and like you end up so much mentally tougher on the other side of whatever adversity it could be. And I feel like you're gonna come out. Like I feel like you have this like new appreciation almost for like a partnership and a team and like just moving forward.
Yeah,
you got a gold medal
for sure. I mean, you guys are spot on. I mean, sometimes it does just take something really tough to just come out of it even stronger. And I'm just so focused on everything that's coming up and what we're doing right now. And I think that's just a really great spot to be as an athlete.
For sure. I was so stoked when you guys won that.
Oh,
and
thank
especially
you.
because, and I was calling your match against Barbara and Carol. And how fun is that to play one of the best Brazilian teams under the lights in Brazil, crazy crowd, and then to win it? Like, that had to be so fun.
One of the coolest things, honestly, like the stands are packed. And I don't know if you can tell in the stream, but, you know, like there's the stadium's like this, and it's packed. Everyone's around, and Brazilian fans are hard to beat. They're diehards, and when we could barely hear each other, you know, we're like almost screaming, trying to communicate because it's so loud. And one thing that's really cool about Brazilian fans is like they appreciate good volleyball. Yeah. So yes, they obviously want Brazil to win, but during crazy rallies, like they can get into it. But there's nothing quite like playing in an atmosphere like that and then winning that, you know, that match, which was a huge match to win. And you know, the fans a little disappointed, but then you start dancing a little bit, and then they get excited for you. So
You Kelley didn't break out Footloose this time, though, did you?
No, not that one. But we did a fun little Brazilian dance, and it was really cool.
Heck yeah.
And then I feel like when you win a match like that, it almost sets you up for like an emotional come down afterwards, just because like that's so high. And like you watch, I think anytime someone would take Phil and Nick to 3 or Phil and Rosie to 3, they would just get crushed in the next one because like you just played all out. You were so close, and you had that letdown, and they like couldn't muster it back. Then you played so well in the semis and finals. Like beating Schoon and Stam right now is not an easy feat.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean it was. I think too. This I think is all just is encompassing with our team and our trainer. We didn't feel tired out there, and we felt like in great shape. And every single it's these big matches and you win, and we were just like, okay, now on to the next one. And I think Evie is so good at that. About he goes to watch film, gives us a game plan, and then we execute that game plan. And of course things change within the match, but it was just like we're just so focused on what we want. And I don't think I've ever had such good communication with a partner than I do with Kelley. It's just we're always talking and we're always game planning, and I think that was something in my game that I really needed, whereas like I think we've all been there as athletes, and it's like what is happening is like we're going after one player, it's not working, and then but her and I were like, okay, what do we need to do? And we make that change, and we kind of almost think it at the same time, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So we can like bounce ideas off each other. And so I think that communication for us in the game is huge. And just throughout even the final, it was just a grind, and it was really cool also being them in 2 and just knowing what our game plan was and executing that was hugely important against a team like that because they're so good and they're doing big things right now. So it was great being able to go out there and kind of just showing everyone who we are as a team.
Right. Was it more about, like that final specifically, was it more about just playing your guys' game or kind of executing a game plan to stop them more so?
I think it was a little bit of both. I mean, we definitely had a game plan against them, and we're watching film against them, but overall, it's just like a game can sometimes not work. Yeah. But for us, it was just, we just got a side out and kind of, defensively wise, keep them on their toes. And Kelley was doing a great job blocking, and I felt like I was really flowing behind her defensively wise. So I think it really did come down to both, like that game plan and then just us doing what we needed to do. Yeah,
it looked like just a lot of trust in your guys. There wasn't much indecision in your guys' movements and whatnot, which I'm trying to learn on defense. There's so much court back there. Walking at the net, I'm within arm's reach or a little step away from everything. Back here, I'm like, damn.
But it gets fun though. I think that's for me as a defender and trying to get better in that position. Yeah. I'm really starting to really have fun with it and be more precise and maybe a little bit more tricky with it. Yeah. And I feel very comfortable doing that with Kelley. Yeah. Like kind of adding in those fake moves or, I don't know, just playing around with it a little bit more and making me be a little bit more free with it has been, I think, kind of a big change in my game, which has been fun.
Yeah, for sure. I think I get a little too stuck in the system a little bit too much. And I'm like worried about like the move that I'm making. I got to finish my, do this step here and there to counter, whatever play we're setting up. And it's just like, dude, sometimes I just forget what the play is. Like me and Trevor, honestly, we're best when we're just winging it. Yeah. Like we're both good at volleyball, so it's just not complicated. And
for sure.
So I'm trying to add that to our game here, just simplify things and be good at volleyball. Just go have fun with it.
Well, anytime I get stuck on defense, I'm like, all right, well, congratulations, you scored this one. So whenever you guys get digs back there, I'm wildly impressed. Like, it's so hard on defense.
I love it. Oh man, I love it. It's so much fun. And even today in practice, it was kind of just one of those days where we just worked on a lot of stuff. And for me, it was a defense day. And that means me running around the court and working on new moves, and it just makes me so happy. I love it.
Sandy.
I think it's so fun. I'm like, defense day, yes.
It's weird because I've always been exactly like that for blocking, but now I'm like that for defense because I just want to I know I have so much room to grow with it, so I get super excited about playing defense, but then I'm like, it's all right blocking. I still love you too.
Yeah.
And then I get pissed off because I'm not getting as many blocking reps, and I'm like, damn it, I'm supposed to be. I know how good I can be blocking. I can't let that go either.
Yeah, no,
all right,
I get that.
This is a lot of work.
Yeah, I love just those days where, you know, Evie's hitting the ball at me, or he's like, okay, I can either hit or shoot now. And then I piss him off because I'm not letting him get anything. And it's just kind of fun just being like, all right, let's do this.
Yeah, for sure. How, because I've had your last two coaches have been my coaches, and I know they're very different, very, very different. But like, what are some differences or things that Evie brings to the table that you really like?
Yeah, I really appreciate the way he like approaches game planning. I know I mentioned that a little bit already, but he breaks things down. And I think that's just so important, especially at this level.
Yeah.
It's like everyone's a really good volleyball player out there. It's almost just the difference of 2-3 points now. Right. And I think that really does come from, you know what, like we're going after this person, and in crucial moments, we need to do this because that's what we saw or their tendencies are. And so I think that's just a really big part. And something also Evie's brought to the table for me specifically is kind of running some different sets and opening up the court a little bit more offensively. Yeah. And I'm having a really fun time with it. I think, too, because Kelley is, you know, we really can find each other on the court pretty well setting-wise. Yeah. So it's just like if I'm going to, you know, do something different, I know she can get the ball to me. And I think that was just, you know, those things that the game is constantly evolving and changing. Yep. And I think Evie has done a really good job of taking that and kind of making it his own. So I think those are some of the two biggest things. And he's overall just a really great person to be around. He's so nice and so supportive. But he's not like too nice where it's just like, he you know, he'll get on us and he'll be like, he was like, that was, you know, so he's like, we maybe had a bad match. And he's like, you know, it's okay. We learned from that, but I also don't want to see it again. Mm-hmm. So he has a really good balance. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, has so much experience now. Like he had a lot of experience when I was with him. Was that 2016? But he's been with, you know, the Canadian national team guys, a bunch of women. Sorry, my thing is beeping here. But he's just got so much experience at this point. Plus, he was running John Hyden's system with John that John kind of created, you know, based on what he learned from the guys before him. And just so much good stuff to learn from. I'm going to deal with this because it's an annoying
No worries.
But I think one of the nicest things, one of the things that I love about working with Evie, or really like any coach who's really invested in the team, which obviously Evie is that him holding you accountable is actually like the nicest thing he could possibly do for you guys as a team, because that's one of the reasons that you probably won gold is because Evie like saw what went wrong. He's like, you know what, it's okay, but this is how we fix it. Let's not have it happen again. You have a gold medal.
Yeah, right? I know. It's just that communication, you know, just feeling like we can talk. And, you know, sometimes even with the game plan, I'm like, oh, you want us to serve that person? But I really appreciate that because we go and we serve that person. And I'm like, well, that worked, you know, but that's what a coach is for. Mm-hmm. And I think that's just huge, where it's like, I trust him. And I'm like, you know what? You've done the work. You watched the film. Let's do it.
Yeah.
So I think that's huge.
Yeah. And it's so cool. One of my favorite parts, because I work predominantly with Jose right now. Well, not anymore because he has the USA developmental coach, but like every time we go play with a different team, it'll be with Davenport, you know, and Cayman Theo one day, or Mike Campbell with Chase and Troy and, you know, Leandro, and you just see all these different perspectives, and none of the coaches are wrong, even when they have like different opinions on how things are. I just love seeing how different really smart volleyball minds work. And it's fun to like learn new things and like pick up a new offense or something, or just like a little wrinkle here on defense. And you're like, oh, this is so cool.
It is. And I feel like everyone kind of connects differently with the coach too, which I think is cool. You can, you know, I was with Jose for a really long time. And I mean, at this point he's family, and I love his, you know, his kids and his wife. They're amazing. And he taught me so much. And then you maybe go to another coach and you're like, oh, I like that, but it's not much different from what you did with somebody else, but it's just, something to think about and to add to your game. And I think what was really cool though with Jose was that fire and passion. And, I have that in me, and, he was just constantly like working in practice and fast-paced practice and the Brazilian type of style. And you go to a different coach like Evie, and it's like, let's break down a little few more things, and we're going to look at this a little bit more. And I'm like, oh, this is great. Yeah. I really needed this. So it's just kind of getting the best of both worlds from every coach. Yeah.
It's cool to see like how many, obviously at this level, everyone is super competitive. But it's fun to see how everyone's competitive in a different way. Because you have like a Jose type competitive. He's like all energy and like, come on, like let's go. And then you have Evie who's like sweating, nervous wreck. He's like, okay, like he was texting me during your guys' match. And he's like, Cowboy, like what are you seeing up there? And then you just have like, you have the people who are like getting after it, who are loud about it. And then you have like the quiet ones. I just love seeing all the different personalities in sport, whether it's coaches or players, and like how well people mix together. Because obviously Trevor's like super loud competitor, and then Taylor's just like, he'll say 5 words, but he's a silent killer.
He's either super loud or he'll be silent.
Yeah.
It's like a switch.
I'm excited too because, AVP, you get the coach in the box.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see that with Evie and experience that, and almost kind of seems like FIVB is going to lean towards that a little bit more.
They're trying, yeah.
Trying,
I think
right?
It's a great idea.
I do
too. I don't understand why we can't have coaches.
I know, it's almost every sport in the world has a coach that you can talk to during a game. So I'm also, excited for that first opportunity with Evie to have him in the box. Yeah. Because I do think that's huge in the moment, having somebody like that.
Yeah. I've never heard anyone associated with the game that can like recall information and tendencies like Evie. And I think when I played with him, I was super young and raw, and I don't think I could absorb and use all the information that he had in his brain. But now I feel like maybe I'm in a little bit of a better space. Plus he had Hayden like chirping at him all the time. Yeah. That stuff to Coach Hayden, I think. But yeah, no. Great option for you guys or great choice for you guys, I should say. It's funny because I texted him the other day, and I talked to him on the phone because I was like, hey, lost my coach, buddy.
I was wondering if you were going to give him a call.
I gave him a call. He was definitely one of the first that came to mind, but I respect it. He said, and this is what I would want if I was them. He's like, no, I'm like in a good place right now, and I'm gonna stick and focus with my girls. Okay, that's what I would want you to say if I was the girls.
Right. It's hard for beach volleyball coaches out here.
Yeah.
They're kind of in the same spot as us, not making a ton of money, traveling the world. But I really, respect him, and he came to us. We knew you guys were looking for a coach, and ultimately I was like, if you do want a guys team, like I understand, like you have to support your family and do what you want to do. But it was cool to have somebody who was like, you know what, I really like what we have going on, and I want to see this through. And I was like, all right, coach, like let's go. And that is cool because there are not a lot of people out there.
Totally.
That can do what somebody like him.
They would probably most would chase the money, right? Like
for sure.
To be able to get paid by 2 teams and
there is some of that going on, which I also respect too. They have to do what they got to do, but luckily, for us, we have Evie, and he's wanting to travel the world, and he wants to be there. And like I said, not a lot of people want to do that, and with somebody who has his passion as a coach, I'm like really happy he's on our side.
Yeah. I think he sees like his goal and he's focused. Like he came up short with me and John, with Kelley and Emily, and he's like, all right, like I got my team in place. There's no need to mess with it, get selfish here, and like not that it would have been selfish, but no, I'm more stoked for him because I love Evie so much. He's such a good guy in general. I know his family, and damn, we didn't even have kids when I was with him. Now he's got all these kids, and
you guys gave Luke his happy birthday at practice one day.
Oh yeah, his son Luke comes to practice like almost every day. He's so cute, and it's fun getting to know his family.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
it's big old happy family, you know.
Yeah.
We just got to get to know everyone, and I think that's really cool too.
Exactly.
With the new team, just kind of getting new information about everyone.
Yep.
Beach volleyball is so strange where it's got to be the only sport where the professional coaches are in like such a financial plight, and then the college coaches are like, we're gonna stay here instead of taking a professional job.
Yeah,
It's so backwards.
That's very true. I guess I've never really thought of it like that, but
I'm gonna go pro and sacrifice pay.
Yeah. So I was thinking about when Jose left, I was trying to think of who could coach you guys, and I was like, all right, well, that's a college coach. That's a college coach.
Yeah, no. Our
That's
first
also
list had way too many college coaches. Just check them off the box.
It's like, damn.
Yeah, because their priority is during their season, and so it's tough. I mean, but it's also college coach has a great opportunity for them to
100%.
get in the door there. Yeah, it's
For
great.
sure.
How many coaches would be available if college didn't come around, you know? Not too long ago, was it like,
I mean,
not even 10 years ago?
2012 was the first AVCA season, I think.
10 years ago?
Yeah.
It was like 4 teams, 5 teams?
There's a handful. It had to hit, I think, 40 or 60 by a certain amount of years, and it blew past it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
it was the fastest growing NCAA sport in history.
Yeah, right.
Which is amazing.
Yeah, no, it's great. I mean, it's great for... That's probably the best thing to happen to our sport in the last 2 decades or so.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, not even
maybe.
just for the U.S. Like, the NCAA system is like this international pipeline for everyone. I mean, you look at a lot of these. In Aguas Calientes, the Canadian team that won bronze, 17-year-old blocker named Ruby is going to Stanford and beat like Savvy and Megan Gebhardt for bronze, and like took Sophie and Brandy 15-13 in the third.
Oh, wow.
I was like, you're 17? This is crazy. She's going to Stanford, and like, you look at all these. Italy had a bunch of girls play for FIU. LMU's training Rekka, Orsi Toth, and
I know. People thought I was crazy. They're like, why are you going to go play beach volleyball? It's not going to work out. You should have stuck to indoor. I'm like, look at it now. I knew something good was going to happen with it.
Yeah.
it's got to be crazy for you to see how much the NCAA's changed just since you left. It wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, that's what happened with me. It was just like once beach volleyball came into play, it was like, all right, I'm doing both. I'm doing indoor and beach. I have to go to a school that has both. Like, that was my, I was being recruited as a setter for indoor, but I was like, it has to have both. And then did my whole recruiting process and went to SC and talked to both indoor and beach. And then when I met, with Anna and saw the campus and everything and what her goals were for beach volleyball, I was like, this is where I'm supposed to be. And yeah, just seeing it from AVCA to NCAA to just now all the teams that are happening, and maybe even a little bit of window for men's starting to happen in college, There's some here and there. I feel like there's a few
like
teams.
trying. I don't know. Is there a club?
Well, there's
or
there's NAIA men's beach.
Yeah.
And then a couple D3 schools are starting to get it, because I don't know if D3 is beholden to Title IX, or at least I don't know.
It's just the
something
Title
weird
IX
like
that's
that.
going to be tricky with that one.
Right.
But regardless, on the women's side, it's huge, and especially for USA Volleyball, it's just building that pipeline of really good beach volleyball players that can, eventually make their way out to the professional tour. And I mean, I think that's huge for our sport and for USA Volleyball in general.
Yeah, 100%.
And now, how valuable would it have been for you to have the program that they're making now, like the developmental post-college program? Because I remember I've traveled, like every tournament I've gone to this year, I think Zana was there. And so this program comes out, she's like, would have loved that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know it's tough. I mean, even thinking back, like I've been in the USA Volleyball system since, 13,
Oh, wow.
14,
Yeah.
the beach system. Like, I was on the first ever U17 team, and I was like 14.
Yep.
So I've been with it from like the ground zero, and just seeing it grow. And I think I was, very fortunate where it was like, hey, here's some Norsecas. And, I was playing in Norsecas when I was in high school. And, USA Volleyball took some chances and, sent me on some trips. But it's hard. Like, I mean, I talked to some collegiate teams. Some of the coaches asked me to, do a little Zoom call with them. And they don't, you know, a lot of players don't understand that it's just like, once you get out there, you got to get points, you know, you got to pay for a coach, you got to travel around the world pretty much on your own dime. Like, it's hard for, you know, some girls to come, you know, to that conclusion. For me, it was like, I knew this is what I wanted to do, and I knew what it was like. So I was like working every camp at college and saving up my money and knowing, you know, I was like, this is, you know, what I want to do. And fortunately for me, I kind of got into that USA system right out of college because I had already done the work.
Yeah, for sure.
But now, although it is such a great thing for college girls, it is kind of almost harder to get into the USA system now because
there's so much talent.
There's so much talent, and like, they're doing their collegiate season where other players are kind of gaining points, and it's just the point game right now. It's just, it's huge.
It's the whole tour.
It is the whole tour, right?
Killing me, because I'm just like, I don't like playing for points. I like playing for money.
Yeah.
Big money and big fans. Let's get to that.
That's what my thing this year, because it's only 3 out of 4 finishes. I was like, I just want to get 3 good finishes and then just wait until there's an event that I really want to play in. And that's one thing that Zana was talking about. She's like, I'm done, pretty similar to you actually. She's like, I'm done playing for little points. She's like, if I'm going to play somewhere, if I'm going to travel across the world, like, I'm going for a big one.
Right.
I was like, I like that. I think I'm going to do that because there's so many tournaments to play. Like, you just don't need to play all 37 or futures on the schedule anymore.
I think at a certain point, maybe, like for some young athlete coming out of college, and although in college you got those reps too, like, whereas I was like coming out and just like haven't gotten any beach reps, even though beach was my game. I would have been the guy coming out of high school being like, yeah, no, I'm good with indoor. We can play beach? Yeah, I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
But it took me, 5 years later to actually get to that point. But I think, I forget where we're going with that.
But I mean, it's just, the points is huge, but at the same time, it's like, I also kind of hate playing the game sometimes. It's like, hey, we got to, like, for us as a team, it was like, we got to go out there and play whatever tournaments. It does not matter. We're not, it's like, we're just here to get, to play, to be competitive, to win.
Yeah.
So there's different sides of looking at it, right? You can play the points game, but it's also like, you know what? No, we got to go out and play. Yeah. And from our team's perspective, that's what we did. And obviously we're in a little bit of a spot now where it's like, hey, we're pretty good, but we're also thinking, like, you know what, like, we're going to go out and play maybe a tournament that doesn't make sense, but we need to get those reps in as a team, and we're not afraid to go out on the tour because we know we want to do well and we're going to do well, so we just got to go do it.
That's a good point. You got to look at it from both sides, too. I kind of get sucked into the whole, like, oh, it used to be so much better with the money and this and that, and I'm also like, oh, I gotta stop talking about that stuff.
Just go out and play.
Because, you're supposed to play for the love of it and blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, it's so much more fun when there's just all that good stuff on the line, Yeah. And we have been doing this points. The whole star system was a fail. Obviously, we played great volleyball and, like, whatever. But, like, in terms of creating a good tour, even comparable to what it was at Grand Slams and Open, it was kind of a fail. So I think that's why, like, a lot of people are burnt out at this point. And then, what I was saying earlier was playing in a lot of events you can do when you're young and when you need those reps. Now girls are coming out of college, they don't really need the reps. Like, they need the reps, but not go play 30 international events in Rwanda and jumping all around the world and wasting all their money kind of thing.
It is so different, and I think it's really valuable for you and Kelley to play tournaments because I think there's no way to simulate competition reps. Right. You can do a mini tournament in Hermosa, you can, like, bet $50 or put lunch with the Latvians on the line or whatever, but there's nothing like traveling to Brazil and playing a set to 15 with the quarterfinal on the line.
Yeah.
Like, you just can't simulate that type of pressure, and, like, how are you going to communicate?
Right.
How are you going to handle that? And like you said, there's so much trust there between you guys, but there's only one way to find that out, and that's to fly out and get in there.
Yeah, you got to get in there. I mean, and you got to take the long plane rides with the delays and the not so great sleep, maybe not so great food. Like, you have to go do that. It's like, we go to China and we're trying to play our best volleyball on, like, frozen meal, like freeze-dried meals, and we're athletes, but it's just like, I like to say if it's, it's bad for me, it's worse for them.
I love that.
So
that's great.
Yeah.
I'm holding on to that one. But that's one thing that Evan Corey, so we had Evan on. Have you met Evan?
Yes, yeah.
So we had him on last week, and he was talking about how, because he'll play every tournament across the country, and he'll play 10 matches a day. He doesn't care. But after they lost the gold medal match to Aguas to Cuba, and he was like, dude, like, you get tired in a different way out here because you can't coast through like a pool play match. There's no, like, he's like, you need to like max jump, max focus every rep. And he was like, it was a different kind of fatigue playing international competition, because it was like a small Norseca, but really dense. Like Evan and Bill played Cuba.
They beat Shakhtar.
And then they played Cuba, who won gold. Right. Which is Diaz's brother, the guy who played in Rio, who took 5th.
Yeah.
7-foot defender, by the way.
Wow.
Blocker was like 6'5", defender 7 foot.
What?
Wow.
What a trick.
This dude just took a step, fell down, and dug every cut shot. I was like, that's pretty incredible.
Wow.
That's pretty nice.
Yeah. So they played Cuba. Next morning, they play Shakhtar and Deering in an elimination match, beat them, and then beat me and Tim in the semis, and then they played Cuba again in the finals. And it was like, not a lot of matches, but like pretty intense matches. And Evan was like, it's different. Like, it's different on the world tour. And like, getting that competition is so valuable.
Even like the sleep you're getting the 2 days before, right? Jet lagged as hell. Way more jet lag than flying around the U.S. But also the nerves of it. Like, I just flew all the way out here. Like, I can't lose this, right away. Or, if you're in a quali or something. So like 2 days out, you're kind of feeling those nerves. And that's building up on you, that stress. And then day of, or the day before, it's building. And then it's just for that one match. And then you go, okay, I'm in it. Oh, crap. The next best team in the world. Damn, next best team in the world. Like, there's no easy draws. And I haven't really even thought about that. I feel like I've been in it so long. Like, for Evan, like, he was probably used to smashing teams in the first round of a lot of those events he played in.
Yeah, in the first 2 or 3 sometimes in some of these tournaments, it's like, Evan...
He's not nervous the day before either, because it's like coming in. Like, I feel like when I first came to AVP, it was kind of like that, where your first round's going to be kind of easier. Yeah. Nowadays.
And there's no plays off.
No, I mean, and then international add on top of that, it's like now you're competing against U.S. teams.
Right.
And you're competing for stipends and money and
Olympics
and, being the top U.S. team. And it's just like, oof, it's, once you get out there, it's a whole new world, and you either got to own it or go home.
Own it or go home.
I think it's just, you learn so much, just about life in general. I feel like you got your master's, right?
Yes.
Which, congratulations. But I feel like you've probably learned like 10 degrees worth of stuff just going on the road as much as you have, like about yourself, about traveling, about just like life.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's hard not to, right? I feel like even, like, you sometimes don't realize it, but you're like, oh yeah, I'm booking a flight to Brazil, and then we got to go here. And they're like, oh, so who's doing that for you? I'm like, oh wait, no, that's me. Just through my United app. And they're like, but what airport do you? And I'm like, oh, well, Sao Paulo. It's like Navegantes. They're like, how do you know that? And I'm like, oh, I've done it like 4 times, You kind of you're almost... Oh, you are a world traveler, and it's kind of amazing. It's, like even from other people's perspective, I was talking to my sister, and I'm like, oh, here. And she's like, well, I've only been to Europe once. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, wait, I forget that, you know? And
it's not normal what we do, right?
It is not normal what we do and what we have to do. And, and you miss out on friends' weddings and birthday parties. And it's hard. It's not your average athlete, lifestyle, I think. We're not flying on the private jets. We're not getting, the millions and millions of dollars. But it really is kind of, it has to be your passion out here. I truly believe that. And there's no easy route. And but once you get there, it's really rewarding when it happens. And especially wearing the USA across your chest, I think. Right. A lot of people strive for that, but a lot of people also don't know what that means and like what the work that goes into that. It's like, yes, you can get these futures and Norsekas, and it's like you get a small glimpse, and that's amazing. And then like I started there, and then I built up, and then all of a sudden you're winning gold medals for USA, and it's just like, this is a really cool feeling, and this is like what I've always wanted to do. It's pretty special.
I feel like, so I've always wanted to be a writer, like as long as I can remember being asked the question, like, what do you want to do when you grow up? And I feel like you're similar with, like you said, as soon as you stepped on a beach volleyball court, you're like, yes, I found it.
Yes. It's funny because I feel like when I write it out sometimes, I say it, but I'm just like, I remember the exact moment. So I have older brother, older sister. They played volleyball. My mom said when I was younger, all I wanted to do was just compete in anything, and then, played soccer, basketball, tennis, track. But then I, was brought to every tournament with my mom, and she would pepper with me because my mom played volleyball. She would pepper with me, and then another mom saw me and was like, oh, she's got pretty good ball control. Gina Urango's mom, actually. And, she was like, it's such a small world. And she's like, I know this guy loves volleyball. He coaches young girls, and he coaches at Huntington Beach every Tuesday and Thursday. And my mom was like, well, okay, give me his phone number. My mom calls him, and he was like, yeah, bring her down to the beach. I'll have her try out. And my mom's like, okay, well, come with you. This guy coaches for free on the beach. Like, what is this? And I actually, if you guys know the name, I tried out with Matt Butler, who, is the Long Beach State national champion. And I go down there, I try out with Matt, pass some balls, do some stuff. And then the coach was like, yeah, I want to coach her. And I kid you not, that moment when I went to go try out, I remember after the tryout, looking around, holding the volleyball, and was like, this is the best sport in the world. This is what I want to do. 8 years old, I exactly remember the exact spot I was, north side of Huntington Beach.
Crazy.
This is what I want to do. And then ever since that day, there's no doubt in my mind. Played indoor, played beach always. Always in the summer, played beach. Any chance I could get to play beach. And then all of a sudden, it was just one of those things where I was sophomore in high school, and I was like, oh, beach volleyball might become a sport in college. I was like, no way.
Yeah, right.
Kept an eye on it and challenged indoor coaches who called me. I was like, well, are you having a beach program? And I'd catch them off guard sometimes because they're like, oh, yeah, I think we'll have a beach program. But then once I went to SC, it was this game over, beach program, USA, keep going, even with the adversity of almost, getting to the Olympics and getting an injured partner, it's just still nothing. I wake up every day and I'm like, let's do it. I want to be here, and I want to be here, more than anyone else. So I'm going to keep doing it.
That's huge to go through that, and then to be like, I actually kind of gave myself the out. And then really realize on a deeper level, no, this is definitely now I definitely know this is what I want to do. Now you're coming back with that fresh perspective.
Oh, for sure. And, I talk to my sister a lot. She's my best friend, and I, tell her everything. And it was just really weird for me one day because it was just, tough times, still wanting to play volleyball, but it's just hard sometimes. And she was like, well, Sarah, if you want to, if you ever stop playing, we'll still love you no matter what. And I almost broke down because I was like, what are you, really? Because it's you try so hard and your whole life is something, and I'm like, because to me personally, I couldn't fathom that.
Right.
I could not fathom I'm like, I can't stop playing. What are you talking about?
Right.
Obviously it meant the world to me that I have such an amazing family that are we'll love you, no matter what.
Yeah.
But I was like, no, I still don't want to quit. I don't want to not play. So in my mind, it was just kind of crazy that there was an option to not play. But I'm like, there's no way. I can't even think about that. I want to be here.
Yeah.
I want to play, and I want to be at the top.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I love that.
I love that. Because that was my next question was, you've always wanted to do this thing since you were 8. And if you'd ever doubted it. And that's so cool that it's just been no wavering at all. That's awesome. And so rare, I feel like it's rare enough for anyone to know what they want to do at a young age, let alone to continue doing it, and for that passion to just get bigger and bigger as you go.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
It's fun and it's exciting, and every year is different, and this year is just exciting. New team, new everything. Like, feel like I'm playing some of the best volleyball of my life, but know that I can get better every day as well. It's really exciting, and
For sure.
just excited for what's to come.
Yeah. I was watching your match against Japan in the qualifier for Rosarito, and you dug this cut shot maybe at like 7-7 or 8-7 or something, and Kelley gave you a nice little tempo set, and you just Yahtzeed one line, and I was of course live texting with Evie. He was like, Sara Hughes going rosy bounce on that one. I was like, Sara looks pretty good. You just it's invigorated.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it is. It is sometimes, you never want to be going through the motions, and I don't think I ever was, the past couple years. But it's hard to get into a rhythm with playing with different people and maybe not in the best spot volleyball-wise, just trying to figure out what you're going to do. No partner, what's happening. And then all of a sudden things start going right, and you get somebody good on your side and a great team on your side, and it's just here we go. Let's play free. Let's just go after this. Just play like you always have, and it's just it just feels good. Really feels good again. Feels like it's in sync. So it's fun.
What's the schedule look like now? So what's Austin next week?
Yeah, it's kind of fun. We get to go to Austin. I mean, it's overlapping with an FIVB, and I feel like at least our priorities are FIVB and getting those points, but just kind of worked out where it made more sense to go to Austin. Because looking into World Champs, we had a great elite finish. Yeah. We're we'll probably have to miss an FIVB to maintain a good spot for World Champs. But it's might as well miss the FIVB that we can play the AVP at the same time. And I think that's really cool for us American players, where it's just hey, now I have an option to still compete, play against great teams, and make some money. So going to Austin.
Austin, and then I feel like May is crazy, and then you hit for a lot of people June.
Turkey, Ostrava / New Orleans.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Latvia.
And then Latvia.
World Champs, which
is almost 2 weeks long.
2 weeks in Rome.
It's a match off a match.
It's big, yeah. It's these next couple ones coming up are big, and but then the later half of the season, wow.
It's late.
Yeah.
In October, I was looking, and you're kind of winding down in October. Mm-hmm. October is completely full. If you're going to all the challengers, it's crazy. Yeah. It's you have Hamburg, and then it's Egypt, Maldives, 2 Asia tournaments.
And Australia back-to-back.
Then Australia back-to-back.
I wish Maldives was at the end of the year.
I know.
I would definitely go to that one.
Stay for a little while. So I was telling my family, I'm well, I'm not really going to be here until December.
Right.
Which is wild.
It's crazy.
I don't know if that's happened before.
Yeah, I was assuming that the schedule stays the same.
Yeah.
I know people were giving Mykel was giving me shit because you guys were doing well, and he's I want you guys to be over there. And why aren't you guys playing in these events and whatnot? And early on, we saw the schedule. It's so back heavy.
It is.
There's no way at the end of the year we're gonna be damn, we should have played in everything in the beginning,
right?
Yeah.
And me and Trevor are in a different situation where we had points, obviously, so we were 10th in the world, I think, to start, and we have that chemistry already too. You guys need to get out there, get your points, get your chemistry going, feel it together in the pressure. But that's, now that we're talking about the season being so backloaded, I'm okay, making me feel good. Because I've been feeling bad sitting on the sideline.
Yeah.
Well, especially with this freaking point system. We were
Yeah.
10th in the world. We lost to Brauermusen and Mole.
In good matches.
Didn't break pool because only 2 teams break pool here. And then we slipped 12 spots in the world.
Oh my gosh.
We've only played 3 matches. And we're all right, I guess sitting on the sidelines alone will just make us fall way back. But no, it's all good. I always believe everyone's going to end up where they belong,
Yeah.
But AVP's going to be fun. I'm really excited. I'm not stoked and sitting on the sidelines anymore.
Yeah.
Which I think is good.
Time to
I want to be hungry for it.
Yeah, and you've been talking about playing AVPs literally since I met you. You've played 5 AVPs in the 5 years we've been friends.
I have a crazy crazy, like, the amount of AVPs would, like, blow people's minds. Like,
That
how
is
many
crazy.
I've actually played in my... I think it was Dodd, someone? Was it Jose? It was someone, one of those legends, told me, I've won more tournaments than you've played. I've won more AVPs than you've played in.
Oh my
I was
gosh.
like, that's BS, because it's not my fault.
It's not my fault.
But he's totally
Probably
right.
Jose said that.
Yeah, it's Jose, I think. No offense, but I've won more than you've played in.
Wow.
Actually, I think he said I've won more in a row. Jose did say at one point, I won more in a row than you've won.
Oh my gosh.
That's
And he's
insane.
I think he's right. I don't know. I have like 5 or 6.
Wow.
Watch an old Jose film.
He won
is
7
impressive.
in a row. He has the record for World Tour most
Yeah,
wins
7 in a row.
right?
I knew
7?
that.
That's crazy. But yeah, we've been keeping you for a little while. But I was, it's funny, we were talking about your team earlier, and then I was like looking down at your shoes. I was like, oh, her team actually doesn't end with everyone just on the court.
Yeah.
You're still rolling with Nike, I see, huh?
Yeah, still rolling with Nike. I mean, I'm another part of my team. I, work with an agent who I actually signed with him right out of college, and best decision of my life.
I tried to steal him at one point.
Oh yeah, good luck.
It wasn't good enough. I didn't have that resume at that point.
No, I mean, I met with him, and when you just know it's your person right away. I signed with him the day I met him, and that's been a really fun aspect of my career as well. Building
Misty Mays, he was Misty Mays'
yes,
agent, right? Yeah.
still is her agent as well.
Yeah.
But just building that business together and those relationships, I think it's very easy for beach volleyball players to take anything and everything that's offered to them.
Yeah.
Free sunscreen.
Yeah, and I know that's appealing sometimes, but if I have any advice for, younger girls and even girls in college, really think before you take anything and everything. Because if you can get, a free pair of shoes here, you might be able to get a Nike deal later on, and you didn't wait.
Right.
You just took whatever's in front of you. Yeah. But if you, really leverage your, the people and, the business contacts you have, even looking at contracts, people just sign on the dotted line way too easily.
Yeah.
And, that's one of the main reasons why I studied business at SC and then went on to get my master's in entrepreneurship, because beach volleyball, you are your business. And, that's what people see, and that's what, sponsors see off the court. It's they want you to obviously be winning on the court, but who you are off the court and what you represent and who you are is a really big deal.
Yeah.
So we're really grateful for the agent I have and what we've been doing, and just excited for the future.
For sure. I think people get scared off by agents, and it seems backwards. Especially now that I have an agent that I really love. But I really wanted an agent so I could learn all the things. I wanted to, and they give you such great perspective, especially if you get a good one, where they start teaching you wait, they're that everyone in your sport taking these small deals is kind of ruining it. Not only for themselves, but they're ruining it for us too.
They
we're
are,
trying to get these big deals done.
Yeah.
But you learn a lot. They're going to take their whatever, 15, 20%, whatever your deal is. But you just added a huge valuable person to your team. That's the same reason you add a coach. Yeah, you got to pay your coach, but you're bringing your coach in to make more. They're gonna make it up by the knowledge and obviously the deals that they're bringing in. And also, you need, as a young athlete, you need that knowledge and perspective, because you can really screw yourself over. Which I think I've heard stories of a few athletes signing deals with big companies who knew that they were probably taking advantage of these athletes.
Oh,
oh,
for sure.
Wait, we have $50,000 for them, but let's offer.
They'll give me it, or just apparel.
Or apparel, exactly. It's wait, you are not an apparel athlete, but you saw the brand's name and you just signed on the line. An agent would never do that,
Yeah, no, I think it's so important, and luckily I found, who I trust with literally everything, and he teaches me as well. I sit down through every contract, and he's this is what this means. And, you know, and I really appreciate that because, one, I want to know that. And then it's just so important, like the little things within a contract that make the biggest difference of either, you know, getting that out of the contract or getting something added in. Yeah. And that's being with him, you know, even during COVID, like I kept all my same sponsors during the hardships with, you know, being right there and then, you know, a partner getting injured and just moving forward. It's just like, I couldn't have done it without him. Yeah. And it's just a big, like you said, it's a big part of the game. Exactly. It really is. It makes a big difference.
It's a fun part of it, right? Like, if your dream is to be a professional athlete, go be a professional athlete. Like the business part of it is 100% part of it. It's like fascinating.
Never get tired of wearing Nike shoes.
Well, let's be honest, everyone's a little jealous of that one. Nike's Nike. Yeah. How is it? Do you ever get to go up to the headquarters? And
I do.
All that?
Yeah.
Just go shopping in
It's
Disneyland.
Headquarters are amazing. Yeah. Yeah.
And what else? What other sponsors you got on board?
Yeah, I'm with Mikasa, KT Tape, and Oakley.
Gotcha.
Nike.
Okay, we don't mention Mikasa on this podcast.
It's all right, buddy.
Sorry, Wilson.
Sorry.
Love it.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Looks like.
Well, Sarah, congrats on gold. It was awesome. Yeah. Awesome
Thank
to see you and
you.
Kel getting out to such a good start. And good luck the rest of the way.
Thanks for
Good to have
having
you
me.
back on. It's been too long.
I know. I was going to
We're
say.
stoked.
I feel like I was with you like from one of your
You're one
guys'
of the
first
first.
episodes.
Yeah,
That's right. It's been that long.
It's been that long.
Dang.
Happy to be back.
Keep winning tournaments.
I was going to say win a tournament, get the invite back. Just kidding. Thanks, guys.
All right. Shoots.